Namaste, Dr. Pant, and we are honored to have you here, sir. To start with, today the internet is exploding with IR specialists. But for someone like you, uh, I want to know your thoughts on what recently our Prime Minister said. He mentioned that we are into a COVID-like situation. So, sir, where are we exactly right now? And which theory in IR explains the current world situation? Is it the madman theory? Is it realism? Is it liberalism? What is it? Where are we stuck?
Thank you for having me, Viraj. And I think internet is exploding with a lot of expertise. People are experts now on everything, so you have to be careful in terms of what you take from the internet. But in terms of the theories of IR, I think you can use. I think all of these theories, and all of these theories would give you a different vantage point to understand the crisis. So if you're looking at the argument of realism, you would continue to see how great power politics, use of hard power, fundamental divergence of interests continue to shape the West Asian crisis. If you are using madman theory, you look at the leadership, the behavior of people like Mr. Trump or Khomeini or Benjamin Netanyahu. So there are different ways of looking at it from different theoretical perspectives. And the way I think Prime Minister was trying to articulate it for the country was to say that this is a difficult moment because this crisis will have long-term implications for India, for the world, and so we need to be prepared for any eventuality that is to come.
Right, right. That answers my question. Follow up on this question, sir. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he is known for his unique style of diplomacy, which is tweet diplomacy and hug diplomacy. So, if you can expand on it, and does it work on the global stage?
I think, given the times that we live in, certainly it matters if leaders have personal connections with other leaders. And I think what he does through his individual interactions with world leaders, he also creates a space for Indian diplomacy to maneuver some of the difficult challenges that confronts. And we've seen that in the context of Russia-Ukraine war, for example, during COVID, and we are seeing this during this crisis as well. How a personal interaction, a personal intervention by the Prime Minister and the state's top leaders often results in an outcome which is favorable for India. So we could talk to the leaders in Iran and let some of the tanks flow through Strait of Hormuz. Similarly, during Russia-Ukraine war, he was able to talk to both Ukrainian leader and the Russian president to ensure that students were safe and they could be evacuated in time. So I think that the personal touch that he gives to diplomacy, particularly under this during the times that we live in, manages to make a contribution to Indian foreign policy priorities.
Again, to follow up on the second question, in all of this happening around, what does this mean to an average Indian family who is working in a smaller village? We have seen LPG cylinder prices going up, the shortage of LPG, energy crisis. So, what does this mean to the average Indian family living in rural or semi-urban population?
I think one thing that is becoming clearer with each passing day is that global crises are no longer far away from us. Whether we are in big cities, small towns, villages, we are being impacted by what is happening elsewhere, and that interaction is becoming much more palpable in every passing crisis, because every crisis that is global in nature is hitting us at home. Global crises are coming to our doorsteps. COVID, everyone was involved, whether you were living in villages or you were living in towns. During COVID, for example, it was a global crisis, but it shaped behavior, impacted us individually, impacted our families, it impacted towns and communities. Similarly, Russia-Ukraine war, we've seen how it impacted economies, and this war crisis, of course, is talking about energy. It's a real challenge of how will we rebuild our energy infrastructure, global energy infrastructure, because what is happening by this obstruction of the Strait of Hormuz, that problems that it is creating for economies like India are now impacting not only policymakers but ordinary Indians who are finding it difficult to, for example, cook. or prepare a meal of their liking. So LPG deficiency in some ways is becoming the benchmark for this crisis, and in some ways illustrates, in more ways than one, it illustrates how India is increasingly a global player and how global politics impacts local politics and local challenges.
Very insightful, sir. So, in your book, Power and Purpose, you mention uh, 4 degrees of foreign policy, or 4 elements of foreign policy. So, to explain the current Indian foreign policy, where are we and what should be the steps ahead, considering the world situations, the global political dynamics? What should be India's future foreign policy look like?
So I think the book talks about 4 waves in India's foreign policy evolution, and we are at a very interesting phase where we are talking of now Amrit Kaal and Viksit Bharat, and how by 2047 India should have certain roadmap for its own developmental prospects, and therefore where we are is in India trying to establish itself as a rule maker rather than as a rule taker, a norm maker rather than a norm taker. And so in that sense, India perhaps is more in a proactive phase of its foreign policy development, because not only is there domestic aspiration in India that India should play a larger role, but I think a global recognition that India today is one of the few countries that have a global profile, and that should, given its capabilities and given its profile in the world, should play a larger global role with different capacities in global governance, or be it largely trying to manage multiple crises.
For young enthusiasts like me, young professionals, in this Amrit Kaal, what do we do? What will be the right steps which will pave the way to Viksit Bharat 2047?
Youngsters today know what they have to do. By and large, I think whatever you do, we should try to strive for global standards, perfection, and an acknowledgement that India will be measured, India's talent will be measured through a global lens, not simply a national lens. So I think our ambitions should also go with the aspirations of India and the global stage. And it gives you enormous opportunities for a young Indian. This is a moment of enormous opportunities. It is a moment of challenges, as we are witnessing, but I think it also is a moment of enormous opportunities where India and Indians can shape not only the destiny of their country, but in some ways the destiny of the world.
Great, that answers my question, sir. Thank you so much on behalf of Chanakya Fellowship in Social Sciences and Chanakya University. We are honored to host you here, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.